Welcome everybody to episode 163 of the You Can't Cop This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We're your hosts, Russell Gibson and Adam Amy, and joining us today, none other than Laine Pearce from 130Point. Laine, thanks for joining us.
Not a problem, my pleasure.
Tell us, Laine, it's been maybe 100 episodes since you've come on?
Something like that.
Yeah, it's been quite a while. I'm not 100% sure how long it's been, to be honest.
But we're honoured to have you back. I think it's a really big deal for us to get you back on, mate. So thank you so much. I feel like we've been nagging you to come on for maybe about a year now. It's just finally taken this many weeks to get the stars to align, but we're here, so that's great.
Yes,
I think
talked about it a bit.
Yeah, you got heaps to talk to us about today, but I think a really good place, like an icebreaker, if you will, is just tell us about your trip to the Nationals that you had. Like, tell us about the experience, as someone walking around, looking at all the different vendors and cards and stuff like that, but also tell us about maybe some of the more famous people you bumped into or some of the connections you made when you were over there.
Yeah, sure. That's, what is it, like 2 months ago now? So, I'm not 100% sure if my memory is going to serve me correctly, but it was a good show.
We never fact check on this show, by the way. So we're all about the story and the narrative here. That's what's really important to us.
Yeah, good thing.
Yeah.
Well, it was a good one for us. First year we actually set up at the National. It was my third National, I think it was, and this year we actually got set up as a corporate vendor. Something a little bit different for us.
And you had a large amount of advertising there too, because I saw that on your banners on social media.
Yeah, so we were actually set as a vendor. We didn't have any banners up like on the roof or anything like that.
Okay.
We spent most of our money, to be fair, setting up the booth. So our banners were our booth, essentially. We had a decent sized booth with all the banners set up in it.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, that was a really good experience and just something that I was looking forward to doing for a while and just wanted to sort of get out there and do it. Big thing, I guess, with it was that we wanted to sort of get the release of the app done as well at the same time. We kind of coincided it with going to the National, and we released it sort of first day of the National. We could have done it a little bit earlier, but I figured it was one of those things that's, a good opportune time to do it.
It's exciting, yeah.
Yeah. Something sort of to attach to it, which is great. So we did that. And then from there, we went and, I spoke to a heap of people at the show, which is great. Had hundreds and hundreds and if not thousands of people stopped by the booth over the space of 5 days almost, 4.5 days.
Yeah.
We talked to people who, loved using the website, didn't know we had an app, downloaded the app, gave us feedback on certain things. Everybody was really positive. You had the occasional person who was querying things like, oh, why does this happen? And how do you get this? And how do you know that's true? And you can kind of talk them through things. And yeah, a really good experience in that regard, just getting to meet people who use the app and have them come up and have a chat, really, and just sort of get to know them a little bit.
I'm assuming for people it'd be good to put a face to your name, because I feel like everyone knows what 130Point is, or it's almost like a reference point how the word Google is now a word in society. I think for collectors, 130Point, like that's just what we use, isn't it? Now it's become so synonymous with collecting. So I'm sure people would, just glad to see you. Yeah.
Oh, look, it was it was nice to speak to some of the people and to have a chat with them and see what they think about it and get to know people as well. It's a really, I find it's a really good experience, and I personally enjoy speaking and meeting everyone, and it's just great. We being in Australia, you don't have that connection to the US like a lot of people do there, where they go to shows, they spend time here, there, and everywhere doing different shows every month and every week sometimes, and they're catching up with the same people every few weeks, and yeah, it's very different for us Australians when we head over there, and it's once a year almost for a lot of people. It's the one time of the year you get to sort of see people that you've spoken to and dealt with online, or even as a collector you get to do the same sort of thing. It's a bit of an experience, I guess. So we had a great time, and I guess for us it was not just about the show. Like, a lot of what I enjoy about the National is outside of the actual show hours as well.
Yeah.
We go to the trade nights as well, and you meet so many more people there as well again, and you get to see all these amazing cards, like 12-year-old kids with $250,000 worth of cards in their cases, and It's just crazy some of the cards that appear at these trade nights when you got.
I'm jealous of these kids, by the way, too. I'm not even like ashamed to say it. I see these collections. I'm like, that's just amazing. Like,
Nah, agreed. I see some of them. I go, all right, fine, carry on. Good work, mate. So yeah, we had a bit of fun there and sold a few cards and did a few trades, and yeah, it's good for us. Australians, we can move stuff there that we wouldn't normally move in Australia potentially as well. If like I had some baseball stuff that, it does move a little bit here, but nothing like the US. We had way more interest in some of it over there. So yeah, there's a bit of everything in the show. Like you can get out of the national whatever you want to get out of it. There's so much to offer, really, and yeah, we sort of feel we got a really good value out of it, and also had a bit of fun.
So, what did you pick up for your PC that was your most notable?
So Devin Booker's my PC mostly. A bit of Oscar Piastri as well, and some of the F1 guys. But this year, unfortunately, I'm at the point now where I don't have much left that I want to pick up.
Yeah.
I did see one card there that was just way too expensive for me. It was a Mojo Prism rookie, and I think the price tag was something like $7,000 or $8,000, and I'm just not in that realm these days to be spending that sort of money on a.
So that's numbered to 25.
Yeah, to 25. Yeah.
And was it raw or graded?
No, it's a BGS 9.5 from memory, I think.
Okay.
Say 9, I can't remember.
That's not outrageous, though, is it? But I get what you're saying in terms of the price tag.
It's a lot to spend. So
yeah.
But what I did come back with was my first ever Jordan Fleer rookie. So never had one up until now. It's always been one of those things you kind of, to be fair, it's for our business, but not mine. But still, at least it's the first time I've had one that's been in my possession and something I can actually hold and look at. So
great.
Yeah, it's one of those cards that I guess a lot of people sort of covet over their collecting years. If you sort of have been around long enough, you sort of eventually gravitate towards thinking, I wouldn't mind a Jordan rookie at some point, even if you're not his biggest fan. It's
just to clarify, Fleer or Star?
Fleer.
Yeah. Have you looked at the price of the Star rookie ones now?
Oh,
they're
God,
insane. Yeah. No, but the Fleer ones, crazy. The Fleer one you'd almost call a bucket list card.
Yeah.
It's on a lot of bucket lists.
A lot of people it is. Yeah, it's yep. So anyway, yeah, we picked one of those up. But yeah, overall, nothing huge for the PC. It's too hard to find stuff. I got one last year. I think it's sitting behind me. No, it's not. It's tucked away somewhere here. But I got a 101 Nike tag at last year's national of
fantastic.
Booker, so
awesome.
Great.
Yeah, actually, it might even be in my drawer. I'm not sure where I put it. No, not that one. I've got so many cards here. I tuck them away. Nah, can't find it. Not easily anyway. But
that's okay.
It's nearby.
But yeah,
I know it's here somewhere.
I imagine going to the National would just be like, for me, pop culture wise, the ultimate convention to go to would be San Diego Comic-Con. Do you know what I mean? Like, as an enthusiast of comic books or pop culture, you'd go, that's where I want to be. Is that the National's literally that for cards, isn't it?
Yeah. It's kind of like the moment, I guess, in terms of, I don't know what you'd call it, the mecca kind of, if that's what you want to call it, for trading cards. It is, it's a huge event in terms of pure numbers of people that go there. There's no card show in the world that compares just to the pure numbers of people and vendors that are there.
Yeah.
So, that's obviously a big thing. But, at the same time, it's a straight show for cards, pretty much. There's nothing else to it. Whereas conversely, we went to the Fanatics Fan Fest as well this year.
Yeah.
Set up there. And that is a completely different beast. So, you're talking about a completely different, I guess, design for the show, where they're talking about, a high portion of people going there being sports fans, not card collectors.
Okay.
And the intent being that they can merge the two together by introducing people to cards and collectibles and and bringing the sports players over to break boxes and doing collabs with them and building products that are based around like Travis Scott Cactus Jack boxes and all that sort of stuff. So
it makes sense. And now that they've signed Marvel and all that type of stuff, you can sort of see it all coming into the same umbrella, and how people that would enjoy Star Wars would maybe get into cards and then maybe get into basketball cards. I see that sort of slippery slope that they're trying to create. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bit of everything. So, look, I'm interested to see sort of where everything goes. And
Would you if someone was planning on going to the National from Australia, say they were planning a trip next year, the year after, what is it? What advice would you give to someone going to their first National?
Yeah, I guess I've heard a few people sort of say this thing as well, and it's kind of have a plan because you're going to be overwhelmed. It is a very overwhelming experience when you get there to actually see everything, hear everything. There's so much happening. There's so much to see, and if you just start walking around and try and just see everything and get to stuff, you're just going to find yourself struggling, and your brain gets overloaded, and you're just going to you're going to I wouldn't say melt down, but you're going to find it very tricky to maintain focus for the entire time you're there. So it's a very big, overwhelming show, but it's so much to experience, and when it comes to planning, if you're not a vintage card person, you can knock out 40 to 50% of all tables, pretty much, depending on the year and the vendors and all that sort of thing. So, if that's the case, if you don't care about vintage, then cool. Or if you care about vintage, cool, go the other way. You don't go to the modern tables. If there's particular brands that you like. So say you're a Topps person, not a Panini. You've got the Topps booth set up there. You can visit them. You don't go to the Panini one. Like there's all these bits and pieces that you can kind of pull together and make it your experience.
Have they segregated Topps from Panini? Is that what they've done? Or
yeah, they usually have them like, I wouldn't say segregated as such, but yes, they've got separate areas for them. They last year they were almost next to each other.
Okay.
This year I think they were a little bit further away from each other. I'm just trying to remember. They're not hugely, like they're all in the same sort of area.
I'm surprised they weren't throwing rubbish bins at each other or something like this,
Goodness gracious.
I don't know, but no, they were definitely like there's a whole bunch of different people there. They have to be careful with how they lay things out, but a lot of people generally, the people who work for the companies get along for the most part from what I can tell. So they don't.
They're probably pretty incestuous anyway, right? They probably worked at Panini at one point anyway, all these Topps employees, Yeah,
there's a few that have moved between one or the other, so yep. But no, look, great show, definitely worth getting to. Chicago next year is definitely, probably out of my opinion, a lot of other people's opinions, the best venue. The actual venue itself is quite good. It's big. It's sort of broken down into, last year's one was broken down into kind of 3 areas, so you could kind of move between each one. You could enter to each area from the main entrance, so you didn't have to walk from one end to the other like you do with some of them. Like Atlantic City, you kind of go in and you've got to walk the whole length of it to get to something. And this year in Cleveland, it was kind of the same. You came in the door and you had to walk from either end, but it was easy to get around, to be honest. The Cleveland one, it was just the facilities were they struggle with that many people, put it that way. That's just what happens with these things. Whereas Chicago seemed to be a bit better from that perspective. You could get your hotel was across the road, and there's plenty of hotels across the road in Chicago, and just around the corner and a 5-minute walk away. So, getting accommodation is quite easy, whereas there's nothing around the, like say for example, Cleveland, there's nothing around there, or Atlantic City, you've kind of got to walk 1.5 miles up the road from your accommodation to get to it. So, all small issues, but realistically, Chicago, great one to visit. You're right there. You don't need a car. You walk in and out of it. If you want to break at lunchtime, you can walk back to your hotel. And
the public transport's pretty good in Chicago too, so it's not like you can't get around that city either.
Yeah, if you wanted to, you've got plenty of opportunities to get in and out of the city and everything. So,
all right, now you need to name drop for us, Laine. Did you see Gary V? Did you get a photo with him? Like, who's the biggest person that you got to rub? That you got to rub shoulders with. Does he know who you are? Are you like?
I don't know. I don't.
I'm Mr. 130Point.
Or not much. I spoke to him a few times. First time I spoke to him, he seemed to know who we were.
Like, surely he's used your app,
Maybe. Yeah, I guess. I don't know what he uses. There's a few options out there, so I'm not gonna berate him and try and do that. But he's like, he was just wandering around. Like, he literally was walking around with his kids in front of us on on the first day, just checking out cards and stuff. And
Yeah.
he actually didn't even have a camera behind him, which was surprising. Usually everywhere he goes, he's got a camera following him, but he was just having a day with his kids and just, for once, just walking around for an hour or two, just checking out cards and booths and, looking at singles and things. Yeah, like there's a fair few people who came through. The National's a little bit less of the celebrity kind of show. They're there, but they're there literally to do their autographs most of the time and then leave.
Sure.
They're not usually just walking around the floor as much. Last year there was a few walking around the floor, but they were with say Michael Rubin.
Yeah.
Meek Mill came with Michael Rubin last year. Jalen Rose was wandering around last year. A few of those guys who, were doing things on the floor, went to the different booths and so forth.
Did you get a chance to get an autograph off anyone?
No, it was working the whole time, and sort of honestly, I looked at the list initially and was like, nobody was jumping out at me, and you got to line up for a fair while, you got to pay for your tickets in advance, all that sort of stuff. So it's one of those things. If you do want to do it, and you want to meet the person, then yeah, that's great. But look, honestly, over the 3 nationals I've been to, I've met Dr. J, met who else did we meet? We met Valentina Shevchenko.
Dr. J can still dunk at 70 plus years of age too. I saw that on Instagram this week. Nice. What an athlete, honestly.
Yeah. Met Barry Sanders, met Allen Iverson, Odell Beckham. They were all at one party we went to. Was it 2 years ago? That was great. Had a good time at that one. But that party never happened again. It was a NFT party that Panini ran. And we all a whole bunch of us chipped in to buy a ticket for it. And yeah, really good night. But yeah.
Are the servers still running for the Panini NFTs?
Oh, NFTs are still running. They're still going quite strong. Like there's a lot of sales and the volume and so forth. Still there. Obviously, it's a different beast than some of the other stuff like the old Top Shot. But yeah, it's still there. But yeah, no, that was previous shows. But like Fanatics Fest, there was a few celebrities run around. I didn't necessarily meet them. I got to meet Grant Williams from Charlotte. He came over to the booth and actually, introduced him to the app, and he showed him how to use it. And
yeah, wow.
It was just before he went and pulled the Luca NT RPA to 10 over at Mojo Break's booth. Yeah, so he was pretty happy with that.
He's on a hot streak at the moment. He pulled a gold Charizard recently, or something else. He
pulled a 101 the other day as well. So yeah, you've got to watch out. Everybody was saying you get loaded boxes before you know.
Or CT scan boxes. Maybe he's got a CT scanner.
Goodness gracious.
I mean, actually, that makes sense more than anything, doesn't it? Like he would just take it to his, physical therapist. Like, can you check this box out for me? Like, done.
The Hornets, you reckon?
Yeah, definitely.
Use the stadium CT scanner.
I mean, it's starting to get a bit obvious now, Mr. Williams. Like,
yeah, no, look, he seemed a really genuine guy, really excited. He was like legitimately excited about his cards and just really easy to talk to. And that was pretty cool. And for the rest of it, it was more just seeing the guys floating around. Like Travis Scott was just like a hurricane. He went through, literally, I was queuing up to get a box, and he was in front. He came past us on his way out from doing his box release thing and signing some boxes, and it was just insane. Like the people were just going nuts, and some people were being idiots.
It's a proper celebrity, though, isn't it?
But it was like full on, yeah. I didn't get to see Jay-Z, but he was there floating around.
Yeah,
wow. Because he had set up a 40-40 club. This was at the Fanatics Fest, not the National. So yeah, there's these events you really do get a chance to experience up close and personal with some of these athletes. Particularly if you want the autograph signings, you pay for the experience. You get to go and meet them. You get to stand there, get a photo, maybe get an autograph. And most of them seem really, genuinely, supportive of their fans. They're really
happy to be there.
Yeah. There's some people who who care less, but for the most part, they get in there and they have a bit of fun.
All right, let's have a break and then we'll come back, and why don't we talk about your new 130-point app, and we will do some live demos. So all righty, we are back, lads. How are you feeling? Have you had a drink?
Yeah,
you feeling refreshed?
I'm always feeling refreshed after a break, Russell. You know me.
Yeah, that's it. Alrighty, Laine. This is what I wanted to really get you on and talk about. So for me, this is the main course. We've had the entree, but I really want to get your insights about your new app. So basically, tell us all about it. Tell us about the app launch, and then what we want to do is get a live demo from you, and then we can put some of this stuff up into socials, because I think it's just really important that we can actually use the app in the way that it should be used. And I think,
Yeah.
without those sort of tips and tricks, maybe we're missing some of the, really important parts. So,
Yeah, sure. Yep.
and even if you have some demos, say on YouTube, we can link to our listeners, and, our listeners can have a check that out. But,
Yeah.
If you would honor us with, running through some demos, we would really appreciate that. So
Yeah, for
please.
sure.
Yep.
Sure thing. So yeah, the app, it's been a long time coming. I did
How long have you been working on it for?
Oh, look, let's be honest. I started building an app probably 5 years ago. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
Wow.
It's not the one that I eventually finished with. Sorry, I've just caught my microphone headset on the wheel of my chair. Yeah, the app was something I started a long time ago, but unfortunately, we're not. I don't have piles of funding behind me like a lot of the US based companies do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's done myself, or
Yeah.
all of it's done myself for the most part. There's been a bit of support I've brought in the last sort of 12 months through a family member who's thankfully very well versed in IT and has been able to help me do some things that I needed to do in the back end. But
Great.
all the front end work, all the website, all the app, everything like that's been coded by me, and a good chunk of the back end of it as well. So yeah, it's hard to juggle, obviously, doing that stuff along with everything else. But we got there eventually. It's a bit of a hard slog over the last, I guess, 18 months has sort of been where I've been working really dedicated into actually building the app and trying to get it to a state where it was, able to be released and hopefully not crash every 5 minutes or have major issues. And unfortunately, with any app, you can only test so much with so many people before you go live, and there were bugs, and there still are some small bugs in it, but we're pretty confident. I'm confident I've knocked over most of them, but we'll just keep fixing them up and release a new update as we need to now that we've got the process down pat. So yeah, it's good. Basically, the idea with the app is it's a user-based app, so you're actually logged into it. It's not like the website where you just kind of jump on and use it.
Yeah.
The app's designed to be more user-focused in terms of you have your own account, you log into it, and once you're logged into it, there's certain features that are just yours. So, you've got your usual search functions on there. We do have a camera search function now as well. So, like a lot of the apps out there, we actually have like a camera-based search, which works reasonably well for certain cards that have been bought and sold a lot, and you've got a good reference for it. More obscure cards, it's a little bit harder to do, which is just because we're using a general search as opposed to an index-specific search like some of the other platforms use.
Yeah.
We search all sales. You can use the camera search to search every one of the 21 odd million sales we have in the database at any given time. So yeah, that's a little bit trickier to sort of get to work in a very...
Can I interrupt for 2 seconds?
Yeah.
How long does the sales data stay in your database for? Is it 3 months, 6 months, 12 months? Yeah.
So our agreement with eBay means it's 90 days is what we use for their data.
Yeah.
Everybody else, we have open access. So for all our other 5 marketplaces that are currently live, and soon to be 2 more added to it, so there'll be 7 or 8 total in the near future.
What marketplaces are you with?
So at the moment, obviously, we have eBay.
Yeah.
We have Fanatics Collect, so PWCC, now Fanatics Collect. MySlabs, Golden, Pristine Auction, and Heritage Auctions.
Yeah, wow.
So there are 6 at the moment, and we're in the process of adding in VeriSwap, and one that will probably ruffle a few feathers maybe is Card Hobby. They're getting added in as well.
Okay.
So they'll be,
That is definitely going to piss people off.
So it'll just add another aspect, I guess, to the whole picture for people, and they can, it's like anything. I like to present people the data. My philosophy is I'll present the data to people. We'll do the best we can to make sure our data's as correct as we can get it. And it's up to people to make a decision based on what they have in front of them. I don't want to tell them what their card's worth. They need to make the decision based on what they can see.
The comps on that platform, though, are so different to every other platform. I think that's the issue that I have with it.
But that's the same. You could say the same for the difference between eBay US versus eBay UK. The soccer cards might sell for more on eBay UK because there's collectors in the UK who care about a certain player. more than they do in the US. It's a very similar thing. Like James Harden cards sell for more on Card Hobby than they do anywhere in the world, from what I can see. That like he's one of the most popular guys on there. Amongst a few, there's a few specific players who sell way better on Card Hobby than they do anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So it's just I guess it's a bit of perspective for people, I guess, to see where.
And Card Hobby, would the data be there in perpetuity, or would also after 90 days it will come off?
As far as I'm aware, it'll be for in perpetuity. So
yeah, right.
We haven't had discussions about it not being.
It's a shame that eBay data can't stay for a little bit longer.
That's something we're trying to work with eBay on, because other platforms do it, and other platforms that do it actually sell access to their platform. We don't. We're still making sure that with everything we do is free. We offer free access to the data like we're meant to through our agreement with eBay. And at the end of the day, we want to maintain that arrangement with them and keep, a good relationship with them. So we're not ever charging for data, and we want to sort of work with them and see if there's that, possibility of extending the duration of available data for people. But yeah, look, realistically, 2, 3, 4 years worth of data, does it? It's good for looking at maybe long-term data analysis and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But,
I was going to say even 12 months would be quite handy. That sort of gives you like a pretty good picture of what's been happening. Yeah.
If a card sold 4 years ago or sold during COVID, you're not really going to use that as a comp for right now, because it's just too dated. Too many things have happened since then.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. Like, it's good to see what they might have sold for. And it makes for good, analytical stuff, or if there's a specific card that you're tracking over the 5, 6, 10 sales or whatever might happen over a decade for it.
Yeah.
Great. That's what that's good for. But ultimately, when you're looking more generally like we do, we look at, 130 Point's designed to sort of cover everything. It covers the whole gamut of sales, from the $1 card to the, $1 million card. We want to.
It's the devil's advocate sales post. I think that's what you're trying to say, isn't it? You're just trying to give the complete picture and both sides of like what's happening out there.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that.
I guess Card Hobby's opening up and has opened up to most parts of the collecting world. So, you can access it here in Australia, no problems. US, Europe, I assume. I don't know myself personally, but I know that they're sort of expanded their offices out. So the fact that we can all buy cards from them means that it's not like it's a closed system anymore.
Sure.
So yeah, that's just and we can start. They're starting to open it up for selling as well. We've got approval to sell on their platform at the moment too, which is one of the first sort of Australian people to be able to sell on their platform. If we want.
Oh wow, okay.
Cool. We've listed a few cards. We haven't sold one yet. It's been early days, but we've had some interest in some of the stuff we've submitted up there. So I guess it's just a case of seeing if we can make a sale or two and see how it all works.
Great. Sorry, I completely segued you then. What were you saying?
Good. It's part of the app.
That's right. We'll talk about the 130 Point app. Yeah.
All good.
Alrighty. So we'll talk about 130 Point app, and you've been working on it for about 5 years. I think that's about where we were.
Yeah, I guess 5 years was when I originally started, but I took a few breaks here and there, and it sort of I restarted from scratch, I guess, last year, because the thing with that coding is it changes very quickly, and if you don't maintain your code base and keep updating things, then by the time you come back to it, it's now kind of broken. It doesn't work anymore. So mobile applications move pretty quickly these days. I can go a week and come back and there's new versions of the packages I'm using because I've updated something. So it's a pretty fast moving world, and it's basically got us to the point now where the app, as I said, you can do your camera search, you can do your normal basic search of just text. You can save items now, so you can actually watch them. So if you've got an item that's for sale and you want to watch it like you would on eBay, but you can now watch it on 6 marketplaces, soon to be 8, hopefully towards 12 come the end of the year, early next year.
Yeah.
You can, say you want to, for me, I want to look for Devin Booker rookie cards, right? I type in Devin Booker rookie into the search and I get results across 6 marketplaces, and I can save an item from any marketplace I want. It sits in my watched items, and 3 hours, 30 minutes, and 5 minutes before that auction ends, I can get a notification telling me that item is ending. And if I want to go bid on it, I click the notification. It takes me to eBay. It takes me to Golden. It takes me to Fanatics Collect, whatever website it's from, and I bid on their site. I don't bid on the app. The app just sort of aggregates data and moves you to the actual marketplace.
Yeah,
Great.
It's a real facilitating function is what the app is.
Exactly. Yeah.
It draws data from everywhere and it gives you the option.
Yeah, it's trying to make people's life a bit easier, I guess. Yeah. And I find it good for me, and I hope other people find it good for them as well. And same thing with saved searches. You can save your searches down. We haven't got the notifications for that yet because it's a little bit trickier in that, what happens if your saved search is just for rookie? And that means that if I'm going to give you a notification anytime a new listing of rookie comes up, you're going to get 1 million notifications a minute. So we'll look at more of a, I guess, consolidated notification, like a daily post or, something like that. It's a bit trickier to work out how you consolidate large pools of data like that into a notification that doesn't get you banned from using notifications.
Yeah, you don't want to be going out like every couple of minutes with a notification.
Yeah, it overloads the notification servers and they block you. So
you also do want to be able to say when auctions are ending.
Yeah. Yep.
So there's a balancing act there for sure.
Yep. So anyway, that's part of it. We've got a notification screen. We've got user defaults and things like that you can change in the app, and just to make things like currency default to Australian, US, Canadian, New Zealand, whatever you want. A bunch of things like that. We just sort of add in, and we've got features we want to add in the future as well, and we'll just sort of start tacking them on where we can.
Great. Are you able to reduce the number of notifications you get? Because you said something like every 3 hours before, then 5 minutes before. Could you just, for example, if you wanted it only 1 hour before, just do it like that? Is that possible?
Oh, look, we can look at it in the future, but it's the coding for it becomes a little bit tricky because you have to run code, basically then every minute to look at any ones that are going to finish in whatever time frame the user specified. So there's a little bit complex in the back end, and it costs money to run things like that all the time, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, can you please tell us about some of your favorite features on the app that you'd like your users to be able to do, and then how it would be best to use the app? That's the main one I want to talk to you about.
Sure. Yeah. Like I think the watched items thing's fantastic. For me as a collector, it suits anyone. It can be a collector, it could be an investor, it could be anybody who's out there. They can use the app to find the cards they want to buy across all the platforms in one place. I personally don't have time to go and search on 6 different marketplaces, and there's more than that out there, and see if any cards I want to buy have just been listed or are now live or are going to finish soon. I can go in once a day, once every few days, whatever I want, and just type in the search and just see what comes up and go, oh yeah, that's a new one. I didn't know they were selling that. I wouldn't mind buying that one. It just gives you that simplicity of targeting what you want in one place. It allows you to do that. So that's for me as a, yes, I have cards that I sell as a business, but as a collector as well, I like that element of it to be able to actually watch my, items that I want to buy and see if
great.
I want to pick up.
Can you show us a quick demo on the screen? Is that possible to do that? And then
we're going to try it, but unfortunately, I don't know if there's something you guys can do on your end. I can't change my video settings while we're live by the look of it.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to mute my camera just to see if it allows me to change something, and I'll see if that works. No, unfortunately, it won't let me change it. So, my great plan to actually show you the app live, unless there's a way I can do that, it's not going to work.
Hey, Ad, if we end this live feed and then come back in and then we do the demo.
Oh, yeah. If Laine leaves and comes back in, that should be fine.
Okay.
So
I'll do that then.
I think we need to stop the feed though and let the upload, and then we need to.
You need to start a new Zencaster feed.
Yeah, I think so, mate.
Okay, that's fine.
And is that gonna muck you up?
The live stream to YouTube won't stop. I'll be here because I'm on a separate camera on YouTube, so you guys will disappear and that'll be weird. I'll be by myself in the bottom corner.
So, Laine, what I'll do is I'll just stop the feed, but don't exit until the upload is finished, and then it'll say like 100% uploaded, something like that.
Yeah, easy.
Yep. Okay. See if you can change it now.
All right, 2 seconds. I'm just making sure I've got my next thing set up properly because I'll be running off a different feed for the next section. Why is that not showing anything? Oh, that'll be right because it's in use. Audio input capture. Mic check. And this one. All right, that'll do there. That's got us there. Okay, so sorry, what do you need me to do?
Try to do
Oh,
the
yeah,
changes that you want now. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, great. Okay, let's just see if we can just keep recording then.
Sweet. Let's see how you go. There we go.
All right. So actually, it's time for a break anyway. So why don't we just say, "Oh, now," and we're back.
Yep.
And then I can add a little note to the other one.
Cool. Anyone that's playing at home with us will just get. Ta-da! What happened then?
I think when I click record.
It kicks everybody out.
Yep.
And tells us to restart again. Anyone that's playing at home is probably having a on the live is probably having a real laugh. Don't worry, you can watch that tomorrow or later. You can watch it live on YouTube if you got your phone.
Uh-oh, Laine's not here.
I'm waiting for notifications going something's gone bad. Uh-oh. I just hope you're on the right. That when Laine rejoins us, it doesn't swap your position on the screen because I've given Laine. I don't know if you can see the.
Can you change it around though? If that does happen,
it's exactly what's happened.
Is Laine back?
If
you
Hey,
jump out and jump back in.
Me
Russ,
or Laine?
Russ.
Me?
Yeah. Because then Laine should move to the other side.
All right, 1 second.
The joys of
yeah, but
technology.
how's this working? I'm not sure why it wouldn't work the first time I did this because now I can just switch on my OBS.
Oh wow! Now it's playing, but yeah, previously it was.
Yeah, so now I can just on OBS I can just go scene,
and it goes there. We go, seamless, no
and
problems.
And I'm here. It's what I was trying to do the first time.
There we go. Everything's back to normal.
Everyone's happy?
I'll tell you what. I'm not going into YouTube tomorrow to fix that little bit. Everybody can just see all the how the magic happens.
Don't stress. Yep.
The live video.
Yeah, all good.
Are you? Because I can still see your face, Laine. Are you
good?
No, I worked it out. This time around, it decided it wanted to let me actually,
I wonder if we start recording though, it won't let you change it. That's what I'm.
Yeah, that's the thing. But now I'm in OBS. I can actually just go hello.
Okay. All right. So
letting me do it, and you can hear me. So that's the main thing.
All right. So do you want to change it, and then I'll start recording?
That's all right. I'll still be here, and then I'll click over to the screen.
All right. If you're confident.
I'm doing it through OBS, so I'm not doing it through.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're back.
All right. We're back. Welcome back, everyone. We're all here in one piece. We've been retransplanted, so I think we're good to go. All right, Laine, let's get back to business. Tell us about and give us a demo, please, on 130Point and your key features to your app. We would love to hear about it.
Definitely. So we have the technology. So here we are. We actually have what we were trying to plan and show before. I've finally got it up and running, which is good.
Fantastic.
So you should be able to now see a lovely view of the app.
Yep.
Which is what we want to demonstrate, I guess.
Fantastic.
I kind of went through some of the stuff on this lovely page we've got here with the marketplaces. We spoke about them in a bit of detail. I sort of went through, all the app overview and what it can do, and my favorite one being the saved items. I like the camera search too, but I want to kind of make that better over time. I want to train it up, and it uses a bit of AI and neural networks and all these things that people love to talk about these days in the back end. I was able to find a lovely man in Australia here who was capable of doing it for me, because I'm not very well versed in that stuff as such. I know how it all operates and works, but I can't actually code it myself. So so it's a tricky one, but he was very, very good. Very,
I had to play with the camera function. I had to play with the camera function while we were chatting. So
well, I guess we might try it straight here. This is my virtual camera that comes up, but I've got a lovely card saved in here, one we spoke about before. It's a Jordan Fleer rookie, if we want to call it that. You can pick from your camera roll, or you can take a picture.
Nice.
On Android, it allows you to crop. On Apple, they don't have the ability to crop. You just get the picture that you're uploading.
Yep.
So you hit crop and it goes away, and it's currently looking through 24 million images to try and get matches for you. And it's going to try and bring back the best matches it possibly can based on that, and also the time, the most recent ones as well. So you can see here it says, look, there's a PSA 7, which is what it was, that's for sale at the moment if you want to go buy one. There's that save item thing I was talking about. I'll give you a little demo now and hope it doesn't fail me. So we say save item, it goes away and it goes, all right, I'm going to stick this into your little database and I'll save it successfully for you. And then now in a minute, we'll go across and have a look. But if I go to my watched items tab, just going to take a few moments to update just because it's going away and checking to see if you've got any items that have sold recently or if that pricing's changed. Every 5 minutes, you're allowed to sort of update your data, because anything outside of 5 minutes, if I just let people hit refresh all the time, it's just going to trip things over, and there's going to be, my bills for back-end servers are going to be millions of dollars. So you can see here, I clicked ended, not live. So if I hit the live items tab, the joys of running a phone on a computer means it's a little bit laggy. But there's that Jordan I just saved there, showing at the top. So it's 3 days, 14 hours. And this is all, the times are all in your local time. And I'll go through that in a minute as well. You've got the ability to change time zones. So it's not, US time, it's local time.
Yeah, great.
Go back to the search. There's your results from the
image search.
Image search.
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed recently, and this is like one of those little bugs that I was talking about, is that for some reason golden sales are showing twice, and I'm trying to figure out why that is. You think you've got everything tested, and then you start playing with it, and you're like, well, hang on, why are they?
Maybe one's like a shield listing and one is an unshield listing. Is that possible?
Because they're exactly the same. So,
Do Golden have a thing with eBay, don't they?
They are now. They're owned by eBay now. So.
Yeah, maybe it's duplicated because it's been in the back end.
I don't think so, because I don't think they show the data across two, but it's something worth looking into. But anyway, either way, we can see, it's showing good
Golden
results.
Just trying to get extra exposure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. You can throw me some money if you want to. I'm more than happy. Got plenty of it. So there you go. So for something like a Jordan Fleer PSA 7, it's fantastic, right? It can find that image because it's so recognizable, and there's so many versions of that card out there that have sold that it's very easy to get a good, solid, result for. So, common, cards that sell quite often, you're not going to have an issue with the camera. It's going to be those obscure, pink pulsar of Eric Pascal rookie or something like that. That's hasn't sold in who knows when. That it'll probably bring back a bunch of pink pulsar rookie cards, but not his necessarily.
Okay, sure.
He doesn't have one. So that's just sort of the way you sort of start to see that little bit of a transition between those, good results and the bad ones. It's kind of, it's doing its best, but it's got a lot of work to do on the back end. So if you just want to do a normal text search, you just hit the little search button down in the corner there, and it's already pre-populated what you've just searched last time as well.
Yeah, so I'm just going to interrupt you here for a sec, because this is a question I get the most via PM. People ask me, what's the best way to use 130Point? How do you do your searches? And my answer to them is always search less. That's my sort of personal 2 cents, but I would love to hear your tips and tricks about using keywords, what your strategies are to use your search engine. That's, for me, I'd love to hear this from the horse's mouth. Yeah,
for sure. So I'd say you've got a few ways of approaching it. Usually it comes down to the individual card. So like this card, really what I've got there. So Michael Jordan, 1986, Fleer, PSA, I'll get rid of that, 87, Fleer 57, PSA 7. That's going to give you a great result. I've just lost my screen for some reason. I don't know if it's decided to have a bit of a sleep. Just let me get back to the home screen. Sometimes it likes to change its mind on what it's going to do for me. But so if you're looking at, I'm just going to have to restart my little app here. Oh no, here we go. We're back. So if you're looking at a search function like this, I don't want Google to record anything. Once again, the joys of a virtual device. So we had that before, like Michael Jordan, Fleer, 1986, PSA 8. And if you sometimes the card number is worth doing, like for this card it is, but for other cards, don't bother. The card number quite often doesn't actually produce much of a benefit.
Does it detract from the results because people don't put the number in?
Yeah, sometimes. If you're looking for a PSA card, quite often people will include the number in just because they use the title to populate their results.
Yeah. Sure.
But I find it's kind of hit and miss. It's you get to some of the modern cards and it's useful because it might differentiate the Victor Wembanyama Prism you want versus the other Prism version that you don't want or something like that.
Yeah.
You're looking for his Silver Prism rookie, but you want his base Silver Prism rookie. So if you put the card number in, you'll get better results. But there's other times where it's not as useful because the number or the lettering or whatever in the number doesn't really support a better result.
Yeah.
But like you can see here, that worked really well. So you got really nice results. We've got heaps of PSA 8 showing up. And then, for example, we'll use that Wemby as an example. So we'll go for Wembanyama Silver. Can't spell silver. Silver Prism, PSA 10. And you'll see that this brings up an array of things. It won't just be what people are expecting. Oh, I want the Silver Prism rookie. That's what I want. But it's not necessarily going to bring up just that. It's going to bring up a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
So you see blue silver. What's a blue silver? That's not a thing.
Probably from select retail, right?
Yeah, you're getting the fast break versions. You're getting select. So you got to start what I like to call curating your search term a little bit more after that. So you can see that it's 136 is the number. So in this case, yes, you would include 136. You put that in there. You'd also do things like, I don't want select to come up. So you put a minus select.
Okay.
And that gives you anything that doesn't include select.
Sure.
You do the same for optic. You can put minus optic in.
Yeah. Can you do minus select, minus optic?
Yeah. Yep. You can do multiple minuses.
And do you have to put a space between it or a comma?
It's just a space. So like in this instance, I want to get rid of fast break. So I'm now going to go back into it and go, all right, I'm going to get rid of minus fast and minus break just in case there's some weird combination that people are putting into their results. And that just sort of takes out those terms from being part of the result.
Yeah, I think this is the type of stuff that I wanted to hear. That's amazing. Actually, I didn't know that, so I'm very happy about this.
Yeah, so now you see we've really been able to curate our results to what we want.
Yeah.
We're getting just that one version of the Wemby Prism PSA 10 silver. That's what we want from, his true Prism rookie, if that's what you want to call it, the silver.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of some of the ways you can curate this. It's an art. It's not there's no strict rule that says you do this, you will get the results you want.
Yeah.
Just have to be willing to sort of fiddle with it a little bit. And that's where the image search side of things does come into play. It's kind of useful to get those results just from an image where you can. But it's not always perfect because, as I said, there's not always sales for that card, or there's not enough sales for that card, or it's just, there's times where text is always going to be better.
Yeah. But it's a good starting point, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So anything else you wanted to run through us with 130-point Laine before we move to the next part?
Yeah, sure. I'll jump into the... this is going to do another update because the app essentially reloaded before. Just a couple of things you can do in here now is in the live items, you can do a check comps one. It's going to do essentially some work. It's either going to use the title from the card or the image or a combination of both to get the most recent results for that card. Ooh. So, we'll do the same here again. What we did with the previous one, we'll click on the Jordan PSA 7 because it's usually a good example. It tends to provide the sort of results you want to show people.
Yeah.
And it's doing the same thing again. It's going away. It's doing all the work to try and figure out if it can find a card that matches that specific item and come back with some results.
Tell us about the random fact too. So is that literally just like a whole bunch of dad jokes you came up with, or?
I didn't come up with them myself. I've sort of, taken the assistance of a certain Chat GPT and developed several hundred of these and put them into a file that I can update from time to time with new ones when people get bored of them. So...
Have you seen Alien Romulus yet?
No, I haven't. No.
There's a AI bot in that basically tells dad jokes. I thought maybe.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yep. Yeah. Look, I'm not sure. This one's not working
Pandemonium
very well
with
on
parrots.
the emulator, but yeah, I've been using it on my phone quite a bit, and then the phone being a little bit more powerful in terms of having the internal hardware
Mm.
can process some of this stuff a bit better because it's actually trying to send quite a lot of information in the back
It's
end.
okay. It's totally fine. It looks pretty good on my end, so it's fine, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's that. There's the save search as I spoke of before. You can add whatever you want into this, and you just click the link. You can have for sale. You can have ending soonest, all that sort of stuff. I mentioned notifications as well before. You've got a page for your notifications as well. So if you happen to miss the notification and you want to come back and see it
Yeah.
and click on it again, you can come here and you can go check what notifications you have
Yep.
and actually click on those items and see how they went. So yeah.
Great.
Clever. I like it.
Yeah, great. Is there anything else you wanted to chat about on this before we moved on to the next point?
No, we're looking pretty good, I think.
Great. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to a sponsored break, and then I think we're just about time to go a bit of cuppa anyway. So this is from the lads at fastbreaktradingcards.com. Thank you so much for your support, lads. We really appreciate the support. Now, actually, we've still got a promotion going on with them. If you use the promo code YCCT10, you'll get 10% off Fanatics memorabilia at checkout. So that includes all of their signed jerseys, football helmets. They've got baseballs, tennis balls. They've got a whole bunch of basketball jerseys up there too, of course, for us basketball heads being a basketball show. And the lads are 100% Aussie based. They're supporting the show. Please get behind the lads at Fast Break Trading Cards. You can also get singles from them, sealed boxes, card protection. They've got the works down there. So fastbreaktradingcards.com. The lads will take care of you with the promo code YCCT10. Gentlemen, we are back. I'm on to talk about the next topic, which I think I'm going to try and meld in a little bit of new news with also another service that you provide, Laine. So unfortunately, my favorite or least favorite person in the world, Jeff Wilson, is back on Instagram doing all sorts of publicity for us. But basically what he was running through was the new T's and C's for PSA, Laine. So I wanted to run this past you. This was actually pointed out to me by Luho PC from Instagram. So thank you so much for the DM. PSA can now come after you legally and seek damages and injunctive relief if you've cleaned your cards. I'm actually wondering if old mate Jeff Wilson is taking a bit of liberty here and he's gone from modifying or say trimming cards and then calling it cleaning cards, because I think seeking legal damages from a person who's sending in a clean card seems like a little bit too far for me. What's your thoughts on this, Laine?
We're just going to pause for a sec because if you read the chat, Laine's ducked out for a sec. He just had to duck out for a tick. So we'll just pause the recording there. Which is...
Where did he put that? Which chat
Messenger.
did he put that in?
Oh,
right.
In Messenger. It's all right. I'm playing around on the app.
That's cool.
I'm trying to do different visual searches with photos from yeah, photos on the app. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, he's done a good job. He's done a really good job. Are we still live on YouTube?
Yep.
Okay. I suppose I can talk to you now about this.
We can talk.
Would you want to do a live radio show for You Can't Comp This on Central Coast Radio?
Like a live one?
Yeah.
Sure.
I've always wanted to do that.
We can do a live one. What? And then just play the music.
I don't know
How
the
would that
logistics,
work?
but yeah, basically do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Do we have to do it? We can do it from home. It's just like on Zencaster or live stream or.
Yeah, they've got software.
Okay.
We'd have to learn how to use their software, but basically, yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
don't know.
We could,
I've always wanted, it's like something like a bucket list thing for me,
yeah.
you know?
You can read out the weather and.
Yeah, okay, let's do that. That'd be funny.
Batten down the hatches if you're on the Central Coast. It's like it's gonna piss down this afternoon.
We should do the sports reporting like how they do it off what was that movie called? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Anchorman.
Yeah, Anchorman, like whammy.
Oh no. Oh yeah. It'll be fun. I mean, yeah, we can. Oh, there's nowhere to hide when it's live. Well, actually, we're live now, so
Yeah, that's right.
kind of. Yeah. Well.
Maybe we should take this live down, do you reckon?
No. We just clean it up a little bit. Be fine.
Yeah.
But it's there's so much to talk about. Like this app is really, really useful. I've to fill out PC items. I
Yeah.
guess I can search for more targeted stuff, like with my like some of the rainbows I'm trying to fill using 130Point rather than just eBay and Marketplace kind of thing.
Yep. That it's not the perfect size. I can stretch it.
What?
The banner.
Oh, I made it. It was at a ratio of like approximate, so you can move it.
I'm back.
Hey,
Sorry
buddy.
about that.
No, you're all good. I didn't realize you were gone. So
Thank
I
you for
actually
rattling off the
asked you the
question.
question. So the question I asked, I put into the group chat. So if it's okay,
Yes,
can you
I did
please
say that.
read that? And then basically just tell me, like, give me like a finger single, and then I'll start to record again, and then we can sort of just like keep on going.
Yeah, sure. So
So basically,
you're going to ask me, sorry? Is that...
so basically what
Yeah.
what I'm referring to is I was saying what I'll try and meld in is like a current pop culture story, which is
Yep.
old mate Jeff Wilson
Yeah.
talking about how PSA can essentially now sue people if they're submitting
Yeah.
clean cards is the word he used. But I was saying I wonder if it actually is like trimmed cards as opposed to like, you know, clean cards.
Yeah.
And then you can talk about your PSA submitting services and then
Cool.
about your opinions about, say, Kurt's card care and sort of like lead into that. So
Yeah. fair
just
enough.
basically, are you good to go?
Yeah, I'm good to go. Yeah, sorry. about
I'll
that.
record in
Snuck up on me.
No, you're right, mate. You're right.
I think Laine didn't understand what you were trying to say. I thought you should
Oh,
have just repeated the question and then
Yeah.
you record. Anyway,
Oh, sorry. What did you want?
so
You just want me to
the
roll
recording
into the...
ended.
I didn't
Russell
realize-
asking the question.
I didn't
Oh.
realize you'd gone.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I've already said the question.
yeah, cool. So you just want me to answer? That's all.
Yeah, so I'll give you like 3, 2, 1, and then
Yep.
we'll go. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's an interesting development, I guess, in that change to the terms and conditions. We, with our, obviously, the Hobby Australia is our other business here, the Hobby Australia Cards and Collectibles, which is our PSA group submission. Well, part of that company is PSA Group Submissions. We're a PSA certified dealer. We've been doing it now for quite a while. I think we first started in 2017 was when we did our first ever submission. So,
Yep.
yeah, it's been a while. And they do, from time to time, they do change their terms and conditions, which is what most businesses do. It happens. Obviously, they change it to adapt to whatever's going on in the business world they're in. And obviously with PSA, that's, you know, cards. And one of the hot topics in the past 12 months has been, you know, card cleaning and what constitutes altering versus what's cleaning versus restoration versus, I think the term PSA uses is doctoring is one of the key ones they refer to it as. So
It didn't help when Kurt's Card Care did this like enormous set of essentially
That was gross.
like, you know, soaking cards and and preserving them and restoring them and resubmitting them to PSA. Like I think that I actually do wonder if that sort of series of videos that he did, and let's be honest, I think Kurt's card care were already on the PSA radar. I don't, for me, the optics of that was not very helpful, to be perfectly honest. Yeah.
Yeah, there's extremes to it, and PSA it's not a new thing for PSA to have these things in their terms and conditions. I think it's just more how they've adjusted the wording of them recently to sort of take more of a consideration of some of those processes that are being used by people like Kurt's Card Care. Some of the stuff they do is perfectly legitimate, right? He has his card spray and he uses that to remove fingerprints and grime and things that get on cards that aren't naturally part of the card.
And let's be honest, they also don't come clean from PSA sometimes too.
If you've got an on-card auto, there's a chance there's a fingerprint from the player on it and things like that some people love and other people hate. So, and it's just if you've had a card that you got in a break, the breaker might have put his finger on it because he's got to hold the card at some point, and there's a little bit of a fingerprint. It's just how it is. So a lot of those things, they've always been, when I went through the dealer sort of process with them, the interview and the sort of the onboarding, it was always a case of, we don't mind if you do that sort of cleaning of debris off the card or fingerprints and things like that. It was always a case of the restoration has always been something that they don't approve of, or trimming. Obviously, that's a pretty. For most people, it's pretty cut and dry. That's a whole world in its own. But when you start talking about vintage cards and what constitutes trimming and sizing, and there's a whole world in there of that, you could do a whole episode on it. But yeah, there's that kind of level of where their tolerance is, and obviously their tolerance is nothing can be added to the card, or technically removed, I guess, if you want to call it that, for when it comes to things like trimming. And that includes things like they don't want to see polishes on it. They don't want to see people, adding to edges and things. I guess the one that I still personally think is what I would classify as a grey area is the use of things like humidifiers to remove dents and things from cards. Now, you could argue that what happens if you live in a tropical region where it's humid and moist throughout the year? There's nothing to say that your cards will naturally absorb, if they're not sealed in a PSA slab already, they will naturally absorb and, adjust based on moisture depending on how you store them. So you could literally store it on your shelf in your office in a humid area and it's still going to attract moisture and humidity throughout the year. So that one's a kind of a grey area for a lot. Like I personally feel that's hard to track anyway.
That's a very environmental factor, though.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like, are they adding to it? Well, yes, there's moisture, but moisture's in the air. Like, you can have these arguments, till the cows come home. But that one's kind of in the grey area. But when you start, I think it's.
I wonder how they police that too, Laine. How would they know that humidity had been added to a card and then removed? Like, I think that's.
I don't think there is, unless you've got start putting things into cards that show you. It's a humidity.
And if they're looking at a card for 30 seconds, like, how are they going to,
it's not
what was their geographical location?
It's just going to come down to, if the grader's going through and grading 50 cards from a certain submission and he ends up with sticky fingers because he's, getting a bit of wax on it every single time or a bit of polish or something. Or the card smells really weird because somebody's used, furniture polish on it or whatever people want to use. Then, it's going to become obvious. So I guess it's that's what PSA is trying to avoid. They don't want to be caught in a position where they are liable for something because they've graded it, because they've got an authenticity guarantee as well. So if it passes their grading, then if something comes up later on down the track and you've bought that card from someone, they have to pay you out the full amount of that card's value at the time.
So just taking this full circle, are you actually trying to say that Jeff Wilson is misreading the PSA terms and conditions in that case? Because if I listen to what Jeff Wilson said, he said if you clean your cards, you could then be sought for damages by PSA. And I actually think he's deliberately being misleading, which is a very un-Jeff Wilson thing to do.
I've got the PSA website open in front of me, right? And I've got the terms and conditions, and I've searched for cleaning, right? Or the term clean, which only comes up 3 times in there. The first time it's in what they define as being doctored. For the terms of the purpose, so doctored or doctoring means the alteration of the appearance of any item by things such as, but not limited to, trimming, recoloring, bleaching, power raising, cleaning, waxing, rebacking, or any other form of restoration used to enhance the appearance or condition of an item. So cleaning there is not very well defined. The next time it's referred to, it says bears evidence of harsh cleaning. We're not assigned a numerical grade. So artificial toning, damaged surface. So there's a sort of another reference there. And the third one is may deactivate a cert label on any previously graded item that it believes to be doctored, counterfeited, tampered with, cleaned, altered, or otherwise in violation of these terms. But they don't actually define what clean is. In these terms, there's no bit that says cleaning is this.
Yeah.
So that gives them flexibility to determine what they classify as cleaning.
Yeah.
Because
it sounds from their just those descriptions there, it's implying cleaning products are being used on the car.
Yeah, that look, to me, that's still what I think it is. But unless PSA comes out and sort of clarifies and says, no, we think if you aren't allowed to do anything anymore, then we don't know. I would say, like, I haven't seen anything yet from them that specifically says that. I don't know if Jeff's got any direct insight that he's got from PSA that says this. I'll certainly be just clarifying it with my PSA rep and saying, hey, what do you guys actually mean by this?
Yeah.
You give us some more information, because we offer a cleaning service, which is a wipe down and a debris removal. It's not polishing. It's not restoration. It's none of that. It's just a surface wipe, clean, get any marks and smudges off, get dust off, that sort of thing. And it's not our service. It's somebody else we work with. But still, I want to know, is that still something that we can offer? Like
100%. Yeah.
So we'll be seeking a bit more clarity on that, and I'm sure they're pretty good these days. They've come out with a lot of things when these questions have come up and sort of clarified, and hopefully, sort of when you look at what's around those words, trimming, recoloring, bleaching, power raising, waxing, rebacking. To me, cleaning means something a bit more than just wiping the card.
Yeah,
everything else around it is pretty harsh kind of words, things that to do to a card, but just cleaning is kind of pretty,
I think altering and tampering for me are the two words that is probably the key words in that sentence. And I feel like if you're not doing tampering and you're not doing altering, I think for me, that's the way my brain works to kind of say everything else is okay. I think that humidity thing one, I would actually put that into the tampering category, to be honest with you.
Deliberately doing it, then obviously you're trying to do something.
Without taking people out who live in Brisbane and Northern Territory. I think that's...
So what we do is we're taking basketball cards to the zoo and we're going to go through the butterfly enclosure.
Yeah, just hang out in there for a while.
It was straight,
I like butterflies, okay? Why are you carrying a backpack full of basketball cards? What are you talking about? Oh, are they my cards?
Yep. Yeah. Oh, look, that's the thing. Everybody sort of, and other people will say, well, no, you're just restoring the surface. But then in terms of PSA's terms and conditions, restoration is not allowed. So, therefore, would you then say that wiping a fingerprint off is considered restoration? It's how far does that restoration clarification, those bounds of restoration actually go? So, yep. It is an interesting one. I guess we'll see over the next week or two what sort of comes out from it and how they interpret it.
Mm.
And tell us about your rip and flip program. Have I got the naming of that correct?
Yeah. Well, that was the original term we had for the program. We kind of have just more merged it across into a golden consignment service where we will get cards graded for people through PSA and get them sold on Golden. Then we can manage all the process for them. We ship it, we get it graded, we get it listed, they sell it. We get the payout sent to us. We send it to their Australian bank account. And they don't have to worry about conversion rates. They don't have to worry about any of that stuff. We get good contracted rates with Golden for payout percentages. So 105% of the payout, which sounds stupid. Hang on, what's 105%? Well, it's 100% of the final bid plus 5% of the buyer's premium as well on top of it.
Yeah, that's really good.
22% on top of their final bid. So. Yeah, that basically means they get that extra 5% on top. We apply that to pretty much any card we send there. Typically, we sort of say people, you really want your cards to be worth at least $200 US, maybe closer to $500 to really warrant sending them there. It's not necessarily worth sending in cheaper cards, but we have sent plenty of them in before as well. Yeah. We have supported everything from a few cards worth $30 to cards worth hundreds of thousands of dollars have been sent there. So, yeah, we can do a bit of everything. A lot of people like it because they get the eyes from the US market that they won't get here. And sometimes it goes really well, and like any auction, occasionally they don't go as well as you want them to. We've had a few cards that didn't perform as we'd hoped, and unfortunately the customers didn't quite get what they were after for it. And it's always disappointing for us when that happens, because obviously we're trying to get the best for these people and get the best they can for their sales, and sell their cards and get a good experience from it. And when they don't, that's always sad to see, but unfortunately we can't control what a card sells for, and nobody really can unless they're going to start doing some devious things and shill bidding their own cards, which we very much tell them not to.
Moving forward, what platform do you think has got the most potential? Because I have to admit, the Golden's eBay in collaboration with the eBay Vault, which is now the PSA Vault, like that just seems to me to be like the leader in our industry.
So yeah, I think there's two clear streams of these kind of groups, I guess, at the moment. You've obviously got the eBay Golden collaboration group, business, whatever you want to call it now. They're all owned by one company.
Yeah.
And with obviously that, they've lost the vault. That's gone across to collectors. So the vault they share is now a collector's vault, not a golden vault anymore, or not a PSA. It's its own sort of now, but separately to golden. So golden and eBay are the two marketplaces, right?
Yeah.
The vault is actually eBay's vault and PSA's vault are now joined together and owned by collectors.
Okay.
So collectors,
you can still access it through PSA and eBay, yeah? You
can still list your items from eBay. So my understanding, I haven't got any eBay vaulted items, so I don't know exactly the process, but the idea is that if you do, you can still list them.
Yep.
They physically might not have moved, but just the company running the eBay vault is actually collectors, and ultimately long term, it's all one vault.
Yep.
And you just list stuff from the collector's vault into eBay. So they've still got that integration, and you can still send it to Golden, I believe, as well. But you still, I think now you have to physically ship it to Golden if you want to sell. But they might be working on that integration. I'm not sure. Yeah. So they're obviously one, the sort of big one that's in the front of most people's minds with when it comes to vaulting and grading and selling and auctions. eBay, unparalleled reach of eBay, which is great for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's
and
huge.
Also Golden with the high end. So they've got that kind of covering everything from your $1 to your $1 million cards, right?
And I heard they're going to be cross-listing from Golden now to eBay too.
That's our understanding, So when I've spoken to them, that's what they said. They're going to cross-list, and depending on how it all flows out, it might be that weekly auctions you bid on eBay for them, but they're listed by Golden, and then the elite auctions you see them on eBay, but you bid on Golden. I'm not quite sure how that's all going to play out. That'll be up to them longer term to sort of iron out, but so that's that big, I guess, conglomerate of those companies. And then obviously on the other side you've got Fanatics Collect, so XPWCC, and they're really changing and expanding the way they operate. They do similar things, I guess, in terms of they've got the marketplaces, they've got their weekly auctions, they've got their elite auctions. You can vault your items with them. You can now, the big thing that they've done that I guess gives them a bit of a leg up in some ways is they've now got CGC actually physically located at their Fanatics Collect facility. So you can now send cards to Fanatics Collect and get them graded within 24 hours is their long-term aim. At the moment, it's a few days most likely. And CGC is also doing raw card authentication. So you can actually sell your raw cards through them, and you pay a small fee for them to be authenticated. So they check them to make sure there's no clear evidence of trimming. If there's damage, they'll note what the damage is.
Yeah, sure.
Make sure it's a real card, all that sort of stuff, like the eBay authenticity program does, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they will then allow you to sell it as a raw card. So you don't have to have it graded. It's actually an authenticated raw card that's being sold.
Wow. Okay.
So that's, there's a lot of people out there who don't want to grade their cards. And this gives them the opportunity to sell their cards through a large auction house without having to grade it for a small fee. So yeah, I think it's a different way of approaching it, and it's just gives them that difference, that market difference.
So Fanatics are collaborating with CGC.
Yeah, so CGC actually have graders on site in-house to grade the cards as they get, so you can ship them to Fanatics Collect, and they will get graded at the same facility as they're being vaulted.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
They also offer PSA grading, BGS grading, SGC grading as well. You just you ship it to them. You tell them what company you want them to grade with, and they'll do it for you, and then bring it back to your vault, and then you can sell it.
So I've just quickly ducked onto Twitter, checking out my friend Ryan's amazing statistics. So items graded yesterday, 58,000 by PSA, 10.9 thousand by CGC, SGC 10.5 thousand, and Beckett 3.4. So that sort of actually shifts we'll make this really short, but it sort of shifts the equation in my head. I never really counted CGC into being a big player, but if they're going to be affiliated with Fanatics, like that actually changes that sort of grading landscape a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think they're because they have a huge number of TCG people who grade with them as well.
And comic books is their thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So by the time you add in that, if you start adding in more sports on top of it, you're going to see their numbers. They're probably going to quite easily sit number 2 overall, I reckon. It's going to be, they've got the Fanatics brand behind them as well.
Yeah, that's just a single day that I quoted then, and they're sort of they're second or third.
Yeah,
on average, looking at through all this.
So you might see them, like, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to become, value wise the second most sought after brand. It'll just mean that by volume they'll probably be up there, and then over time they might move ahead of the likes of BGS and SGC when it comes to sports card grading.
Well, looking at the weekly numbers, they've definitely so there's 13,000 difference between them and SGC, and then 30,000 between them and Beckett. Like, it's that actually gives a lot of context for those numbers, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I guess we'll see how it goes long term, if it makes an even bigger difference again. But like they do a lot of the weekly sales on PWCC has a huge number of things there, and I guess there is a third entity in the whole mix that there are more than 3, but I guess out of the bigger ones, and the other one is Alt XYZ. I think they go by on their URL if you're ever looking for them. But we've done a lot of work with them. We've discussed a lot of things with them over in the 130-point world over the last year, and they're a very open company to talk to. They give us a lot of information and insights into what they're doing and how they go about things, and I think they're definitely very interesting in terms of how they're going to progress over the next few years, and the sort of things they can offer people that are going to differ from other companies. So they're definitely someone to keep an eye on as well.
Yeah, great. So we've got about 5 minutes left. Is there anything you wanted to tie off here before we move on to the last point, which is your shop front?
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, just that, if you're looking to submit for PSA, we're always open to...
How do we find you, Laine? That's probably worth mentioning, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's probably a good way of doing it, isn't it? So we're easiest way to find us is thehobby.com.au. That's where we have all our information on grading and what options we have. So we do PSA and Beckett grading. Once a month we send them off. So we have all the dates there, how to submit cards. We make it as easy as possible. We do a thing called a simple submission form where you literally put your name, email address, how many cards you've got, if you want any cleaning done on it, now that it's maybe a taboo word, but if you want your cards prepped for grading, and if you've got autographs, if you want them graded as well.
That's probably for protection from those evil terms and conditions. Like, prepared for grading, yes.
Yeah. We'll start calling it card prep. I don't know. Anyway, I'm sure we'll be fine. We'll work it out. But so we've got that option. And that just makes it easy for people. They just, they can put 10 cards, send it to us, and we'll do all the detailed paperwork. We'll, value the cards for them. We'll tell them what categories we think they need to go into, all that sort of stuff. Send them their form. They can just have a look and say, yep, happy with that, and away they go. So
great.
Yeah, we try to make it as easy as we can, and just get people grading easier and quicker. And as they get more comfortable, they can choose to do it that way, or do the full form themselves.
If somebody's got a card that they want to get that has gone through a different grading company and they want to get it sent to PSA, do you guys do the crossover?
Yep. Yeah, we offer every grading category that's available for cards, tickets, and packs. So awesome. That includes crossover. That's always an interesting one, crossover. Typically, let's say you got a BGS 9.5 and you want a PSA 10, you're looking at about a 10 to 15% chance of getting that to happen.
Yeah, right.
So
Very
what are
low.
it's one of those BCCG
Oh
10s?
god, they
So
are an absolute,
nightmare.
like, you might as well grab a dice, throw it, and hope for the best.
God.
Because we've seen BCCGs go from anywhere from a 10 to a 4. So
Wow.
yeah, it's just wild. You just don't know what you're gonna get.
Get my dice out.
Pretty much.
God.
Yep. Yeah, that was I don't know how they came up with BCCG 10s, but they did some interesting things with some of them. So
Yeah, might have been.
All right, we got to make this quick, boys. We got 2 minutes. Laine, tell us about your shop, and then we're going to tie this off tonight.
Yep, easy. So yeah, we have a shop in Point Cook in Victoria, so down in Melbourne, western suburbs. There's not many trading card shops out this way. I think
No,
you've got the market cornered. Yeah.
Well, that was part of the reason too. We wanted a shop. We also knew there's a need for it out here. So, we're really, the nearest ones to us are Cherry and Sunshine Collectibles. They're the two closest to us, which are
it's
20,
more
30, 40 minutes drive sometimes.
Yeah, it's more gaming than sports cards out that way, I guess.
Yeah, there's a few gaming places, but not many either. So,
Yep.
so we've got a retail shop open now, in Point Cook. So you can come in. We're just off the freeway, 5-minute walk from the train station at Williams Landing. We're now open on Friday nights till 9 p.m. and we're open 11 till 3s on Saturdays. So yeah, if people want to come down on the weekends or on a Friday night and have a look, we've got plenty of stock. We've got thousands of singles. We've got everything from high-end hobby to low-end retail packs. A bit of everything. So, and if you want to drop the cards off for grading, you can do that as well.
Great.
Sounds like an option. I don't know. I have family out in the west, so I go for it.
Well, yep. If you're out here, you can
somewhere to drop off on a Saturday on the way way to visit. Yeah.
Yep. Now we had a lot of people who wanted to know, they want to do drop-offs, but they work all week, or they can't get in for whatever reason. So, or the kids that want to come in after school on a Friday, or bring on a Saturday or something. There's plenty of people out there who just can't get in during the week, which is totally understandable. So we're trying to offer a bit more service to people, and also have that sort of retail shop experience that people like to have. And
is it a big space?
It's not too bad. It's not huge, but it's decent. We've got plenty of room for people to sit down. We've got a back room with chairs and tables, and that's where all the singles are. They can pull the boxes out. There's 8 seats down there with 2 big tables, and plenty of room. It's not cramped by any means. There's heaps of space.
We'll have to, Russell and I might have to pop down for a dig through some
Get
boxes.
some pocket change.
That's it.
Sounds good.
Final thoughts, lads, before we tie off?
For myself, look, I'm just very happy to be part of this lovely world that is trading cards, and I'm very happy that I've been able to turn it into a full-time job. So, happy to support people where I can, and really appreciate you guys having me on. It's always good to have a chat about these things. It makes me think a little bit about what I'm doing in a different context as well when I get some questions that I don't usually get. So, I appreciate it, and thanks for bearing with my somewhat technical difficulties here and there. We managed to get there in the end, which is
I think it'll polish up just fine, man.
It'll
be fine.
It'll be great. No, we really appreciate you coming on and sharing some insights, especially with that app. I mean, 130Point has become synonymous with the hobby. Most people, when they're looking for their comps, it's sort of the number one reference point, I guess, which is pretty cool.
And I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Thank you so much, Laine, for coming on. We're honored to have you here. Thank you, Adam, for your video wizardry. I think that's definitely worth saying. And actually, too, thank you, Adam, for your clips you've been making. They've been doing quite well on socials, mate. You've done a very good job with that.
You can check them out on YouTube, on TikTok, and you're putting them out on Instagram as well, I think.
Instagram, Twitter, and also YouTube Shorts. I've recently worked out how to do that too. So
we're learning technology.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I recently turned 40, and I'm starting to get involved in some of the stuff that I previously wouldn't have. But
that's right. Hashtag.
It can be very confronting.
That's about 20 years ago, isn't it? Hashtag.
Oh, for me, this is new.
True.
I'm delving into CapCut these days.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Trying to work out some of there's a lot in that app. It's crazy, but anyway.
There's some really good YouTube videos about that, actually.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot to learn, but anyway.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We